Chat.
You have to move over.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Hello, hello. Okay.
Oh, you know
I
we're live
hope
now.
that because it said live right there.
Okay.
Wow. We've had some serious technical difficulties. I am so sorry. I hope that you all got the message that I put in the other stream. And you are coming on to this particular stream. I see that there's one person there. Just say something in the chat so I'll know who you are. Let me know if you were in the other stream and they just left. So, anywho, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry. We started late. I was having a whole lot of technical difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
Technology sometimes does its own thing, but we are going to forge ahead with our discussion for this evening. If you're there, just say something in the chat. I appreciate you. I'm going to go over to try the other one to see if anybody else is still over there. I did see that there were 4 or 5 people waiting in the other stream. So I hope that they got the message and will come over to this one. But in any event, give me a minute. I was a little discombobulated because I got so frustrated when I'm dealing with technical issues because I try above all else to be a woman of my word. So when something is scheduled, I'm trying my best, my hardest to come through with it because I don't like saying I'm going to do something and not do it. So again, I apologize, but here we are. This is what we're gonna.
Stuff happens.
Yeah, I know stuff happens, but
relax.
Okay.
Woosah.
So, anywho, this is what we're gonna talk about tonight. The title of hold on. I saw some people over there. The title of this for this evening is affair-proof marriage. It's a phrase that I've heard on several occasions, and I know that there are those who believe that couples can actually affair-proof their marriage. But my question is affair-proofing your marriage, is it a possibility, a real possibility, or is it a pipe dream? So, Cookie Man, what are your thoughts? What do you think?
I think all three can apply in one way or another.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Can you do it?
What do you mean all three? What do you mean?
Well, I'm trying to get there.
Okay. okay.
Can you do it? Sure.
Okay.
Is it a real possibility? Sure. Is it a pipe dream? I think so. For those who think they want to do it but don't put in the work, it becomes just something they kind of imagine in their head. And so it just becomes a pipe dream, something that they think about but don't put in the necessary work. If this makes kind of...
I feel differently about it.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm just going to let people know in the other one. Live now. Okay. So, anywho, I don't necessarily agree.
Okay.
I don't think that it's possible to affair-proof your marriage. Because when I think of affair-proofing, I think of completely eradicating the possibility. Yes. And Nicole just texted me.
Your YouTube isn't working, she said.
My YouTube isn't working at all?
That's what we're on now?
I'm on YouTube now.
So we live, but nobody knows we live?
It seems that way.
We just live to ourselves?
She just need a link.
Oh.
Hold on. Let me just tell her.
So we gotta do this again?
Maybe. We might have to.
30 minutes.
Okay. I hope she can get there. So she sent me a message. Let me text her back.
So even though it says live, we're not live.
No, we are live. I see the countdown. We definitely are live. But let me see.
No one's
honey.
It. All right, relax. I'm just okay.
To the channel because I'm live on the Marriage Beyond the Breach channel now. Okay, somebody just joined. Whoever you are, just say something so I know if you were in the other stream, and if you are here now, just let me know.
How do you know someone's there?
I saw the number up there, but it looks like they're gone.
Yeah, it says 0. Okay.
They just left. Okay, so anywho, we may have to do this over. Because we're having a lot of technical difficulties, and Nicole said she just needed a link.
Later. Relax, I need to smile. I'm trying to lighten the mood.
Right now, the Cookie Man is making my stress even more stressful.
They hear you?
Somebody who hear me?
Anybody.
Whoever watches this later, they absolutely are going to hear me. So, anywho, I want to just wait and see if Nicole, if that will work for her. Because if it works for her, I'll know it'll work for others. I know someone just came on. Please let me know if you were in the other stream, and the messages that I put over there, if you were able to get those messages. I'm not gonna press nothing. Just let me know, please, honey.
I thought her name would come up.
Oh, that's E. Nicole. Thanks, E. Nicole. Okay, so it worked for you. Hold on. I had a lot of technical difficulties, girl. It's been a hot mess, but we're gonna forge through. So we're gonna start over.
Oh, Lord, now I'm stressing out. I need a cigarette.
So, Nicole, did you see the message that I wrote in the other stream? I don't know if anybody was able to see it, because I mentioned that I'm having technical difficulties and I'm starting another stream and to come over here. So just let me know. Okay, let me know if you saw the message that I put in the other stream. But anyway, whomever. We're talking about affair-proofing marriage.
Didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't see it? Oh, okay.
Maybe the YouTube is just working?
YouTube is working. Yeah, but any other stream, when I had it open, I put messages in there. I guess people didn't see it. But all right. Anyway, we're here now. So thank you. Thank you, E. Nicole, for showing up. I appreciate you and hanging in there, because I know you had to go through some gyrations. But anyway, we're talking about affair-proofing marriage. And my question was, is affair-proofing your marriage a possibility or a pipe dream? The Cookie Man said,
I rethought it after what you said, but right, you can say what I said.
The Cookie Man initially said, now see, he don't try to change his answer now, because he's gonna make his answer my answer, but that ain't gonna work. Initially, the Cookie Man said that he believes it's a possibility. Mm-hmm. I don't think that it's possible to affair-proof your marriage, because to me, when I think of affair-proofing, I think of completely eradicating the possibility of an affair ever occurring. Now, do I think that there are things a couple can do to make it less likely that an affair will occur? Absolutely. I think that's possible. But saying completely affair-proofing so it will never, ever happen, I'm not so sure that's possible. What do you want to say?
I don't think, well, then when you rephrase like that, I don't think I meant that you can completely affair-proof it, because temptations come. The temptations are going to come. Is what you do. Temptations hit you, but a lot of times, depending on your stage of maturity, you don't have the right tools to combat those affairs coming at you.
You mean the temptations?
The temptations was keeping it real. Using myself as an example, half the time I didn't even recognize them. And then when I was told about them, which we'll discuss somewhere down in the program, I didn't want to believe it.
I get it.
So I left myself wide open.
Yes. And that's something that we're going to talk about, because there are ways that you can make your marriage or relationship less vulnerable to an affair. Because let's face it, most people who have an affair, they're not planning necessarily to engage in an affair. Now, of course, there are those who are kind of like hound dogs, or I don't know what the female name for a hound dog would be, but outside of those individuals, most people don't go out looking to get involved in an affair. Now, like I said, that there are exceptions, but I want to talk about something, and that's something that Mr. Dave Carter has in his book. He has a book entitled Anatomy of an Affair, and he talks about something that's called a close call. Okay, and I think that he says in his book that if you're not careful and mindful, a close call will eventually evolve into a full-blown affair, whether it's an emotional affair or a sexual affair. And what he describes as this is what a close call looks like. First of all, it starts out as a friendship. It could be a friend or it could be a coworker. And you may be engaged in a shared interest, and it's typically an interest that your spouse does not enjoy. You start to spend time together, it's more and more time together, mutual attraction will grow, and eventually you'll start saving certain topics of conversation to have with that individual instead of having them with your spouse. Over time, conversation will become more personal. You start to talk about your personal stuff, not just talking about the job or talking about your boss or other coworkers. You start to talk about what's going on in your life, what's going on in her life, what's going on in his life. And then you're going to start talking about your spouse. Okay? And that's a huge red flag. Then eventually you'll start to scheme and plan ways to spend more time together without being found out by your spouse or by others. And you start anticipating seeing this individual and looking forward to seeing this individual.
That becomes real.
That becomes very real. And let's say if you and that person work together, you start paying attention to how you dress when you go to work. Am I going to wear a special cologne? Oh, she commented on this cologne. I'm going to wear it. Oh, he told me he likes this dress. I'm going to wear it as often as I possibly can because I want to capture his attention. Now, on the surface, you're still trying to tell yourself that this is just a friend. There's something going on here. And it like I said, it usually will start out that way. But you have to be honest with yourself and realize that at that point, when it gets to that point, if you don't stop it, if you don't end it right there and say, whew, that was a close call, I really dodged a bullet. If you don't do that, it will eventually evolve into a full-blown affair, whether it is an emotional affair or a sexual one. What do you have to say to that, babe?
But how do you go about excuse me, go about recognizing these points you just put up? Because a lot of people talk about premarital stuff or counseling and stuff. Even when you get married at a young age, how do you recognize these things? And then even if you do recognize them, do you want to admit that they're real? Most of the time, again, using myself for an example, I didn't want to admit they were real, even when I was being told.
Yeah.
And I used things that was going on in my own life to make what was happening seem more attractive, so to speak.
Okay, this is what you do. I'm going to tell you in 1 second. I'm trying to send this to Boo Boo Darling. This is what you do. First of all, it absolutely requires a high level of maturity, a high level of self-awareness, and a high degree of honesty with yourself. Because one of the things is, if you try to minimize it, the risk is greater if you don't believe it can happen, and if you don't admit there's a problem. So it requires a level of maturity. And unfortunately, a lot of people think, oh, I can handle this. Nothing's going to happen. I got this. I got it under control. Now, one huge red flag. Oh, go ahead, babe.
No, I want to just put, especially, again, I have to make reference to using myself as an example. When I feel like I'm being chastised, or I didn't like the fact that I was being told what to do or how to do it in terms of attraction to someone. Because I know a lot of times I was saying so and so was a friend, or so and so was a friend, and Val would say, true. Val would say, especially when things might not have been settled or they were not as settled as they could have been in our own situation, she would say, you need to be careful. And of course, I like she said, I got this. What are you worrying about? And I was complete denial.
And we all know what happened with that. We all know.
Unconsciously, maybe it's something that I wanted to be real, or became a challenge now because Val's telling me don't, and I'm saying I got it, and I might be getting some kind of compliments, and now quite frankly, it became a challenge to see, okay,
can I really handle this?
Yeah. Can I go get this? Or whatever the case, as we would say.
Well, you did that too.
See, so always saying, well, since you're talking to me, that's why I say I did.
Right.
As opposed to we.
Right.
I like we.
So hold on. I want to say this. One thing Frank just mentioned about, he used the word chastise. And see, that is a word or something that a person uses when they want to continue in what they're doing. Because one huge red flag is if you and your spouse are having arguments over this friend, over this coworker, and he or she is minimizing it or downplaying it. If you're having arguments about it, that is a danger signal, because when it gets to that point, it's already encroaching on the relationship.
And, in retrospect, I'm going to say you're right. But there were times when I felt we would have those discussions, and I knew 100% there was nothing there from my aspect. I wasn't. And
absolutely. There you go.
Okay. And I would fight against it. And the argument would be, well, why? Because I felt like I was being accused of something sometimes. When she made it about me, I felt I was being attacked and accused, and now I'm all defensive and angry. Why? No. And that we would have the arguments.
Okay. But here's the thing. Even if there's nothing untoward on your part, you can control what someone else does, what someone else feels, and how far that person is willing to go.
Correct.
So I think it's safe. It's better. Unless you have a spouse who makes those comments about every single person you come in contact with of the opposite sex or the same sex, if you're in a same-sex relationship. But barring that, it is wise to listen to your spouse, because very often your spouse can see something that you cannot see. Okay. If Frank tells me, if we're out somewhere, and because I'm very outgoing, I'm very friendly, I'm very conversational, I will talk to a tree. Okay. I'll talk to anybody, anywhere, anytime. And if I'm engaged in a conversation with a brother, and you walk up to me and you say, listen, Val, I think this brother is more interested in you than you may realize. So maybe you need to fall back a little bit. Okay. It's on me now to do that. Not to say that, what you talking about? I ain't thinking about him. He ain't thinking about me. That's the wrong response. That is the absolute wrong response to do that. And vice versa. And let's say there's a coworker, and I pick up on something, and I say to Frank, there's something not right here with this one. I think you need to be careful, or maybe even end this friendship or back up some from this friendship, because there's something that's not quite right. And I think that this is danger. From Lost in Space, danger, Will Robinson, danger. And we need to listen to our spouses when they tell us that. What are your thoughts?
I obviously, having this conversation today, I can understand completely what Val is saying now. Of course, then I wasn't hearing what I felt was an ultimatum. Again, thinking about it from my perspective, I'm not thinking about it. That's me. And sometimes I felt like those concerns came more often than they should have. So when it came time for that concern, and maybe it was the right time to listen, because I might have heard it 2 other times and nothing happened, and was never nothing there, I didn't want to give any credence to her voice.
Yeah, and you use the word ultimatum. There was never, from my perspective, there was never an ultimatum. Okay, you may have looked at it that way.
Okay.
But an ultimatum is leave that person alone or our marriage is over.
Well, no,
that's
right.
an ultimatum.
Okay.
I never issued an ultimatum. I would issue warnings and say, Frank, I have really concerns about that. And I think the brother could tell you a whole lot of times I was right. There might have been 1 or 2 times.
Oh, no. one or 2 times you were wrong. Stop it.
There might have been 1 or 2 times.
What? Yeah, okay.
There might have been 1 or 2 times where I wasn't, I'm going to put it like this. I wasn't right in regard that it led to an affair, but I was absolutely right when it came to that woman having designs on my husband. That I know. Okay. He can't dispute that.
Can you prove that?
Oh, because I know. Because I got that woman intuition. Listen, any woman who's on here, if you're listening live right now, just please tell me in the chat if there are times when you can pick up on when a woman is interested in your husband or your partner or your boyfriend, your fiance, your girlfriend, whatever, and you can pick up on it, but they cannot.
I'm going to already, they don't have to answer. I know that's true. I've learned to realize and see it was true because I found myself in situations that if I had listened to what I was being suggested to listen to, maybe it wouldn't have happened. Maybe it still would have happened because at that point, I was hell bent on doing whatever the hell I wanted to do.
Doing what you wanted to do. Yeah.
So
yeah.
In retrospect, sure, it is a strong thing. But it's just funny how the woman's intuition, when it's spoken to us, is so real, so powerful.
Absolutely.
But then when the brother has intuition, it's like, baby, you don't have to worry because I'm not thinking, just like the man would say, I'm not thinking about her. The wife might say, or Val would say, I ain't thinking about that, brother, but stuff could still happen. Right?
Absolutely. You're right.
How come you kind of poo-poo my intuition?
But no, I didn't, Frank.
Oh, okay.
If you listen,
I'm just checking.
See, you
just checking.
Listen,
just checking.
You want so much to try to prove your point.
Yes, I do.
I started out by saying, if you approach me about a brother, it's on me now and my responsibility to pay heed to what you say.
Right, but your heed would be to say, Frank, you're right, as opposed, in my opinion, to say, oh, don't worry about it. I'm not going to let that happen.
But that is taking heed by saying, honey, you're right, and act accordingly.
Okay.
Listen, y'all, this Cookie Man, he's a hot mess, okay? But anywho, we need to pay attention when our spouses voice a concern about someone that we may be friends with or co-workers with, and they can see something that perhaps we cannot see. We have to pay attention. And there's something that Brother Carter refers to as a dangerous partner profile. We got to pay attention to that dangerous partner profile because listen, let's just face it. We all are attracted to a certain type of individual. Everybody, I can't say everybody. Most people have a type, okay? Or the kind of, and not just physically. Oh, hey, Liz, thank you so much. I know the other was technical mess. And maybe not even from a physical perspective, but it could be a type of personality, okay? A dangerous partner profile is someone that you're going to be attracted to, and that person is going to appear to have bits and pieces that are pleasing to you that perhaps your partner doesn't have, okay? And when you have to be honest with yourself again about what it is you find attractive. You have to be honest with yourself unless they see someone with every person you interact with. Yeah, that's true. Hey, Dr. Danita. Hey, Boo Boo, my daughter, Liz, Nicole. Thank you all so much. And again, thanks for hanging in there with me because I had some technical difficulties. But that dangerous partner profile, we have to be honest. Go ahead, baby.
I'm sorry. To address Adele's question, isn't that problematic? If you see, like everyone I interact with, if you see something with everyone, that could be a problem.
That's a problem, and it's not a problem of the person who's being accused. It's it could. Let me rephrase that. Let me back that up. It could be if your partner is someone who is extremely flirtatious, and that person behaves in a way that is unsafe and disrespectful on a regular basis. Now that's a separate issue that you and your partner have to deal with.
Right.
But let's say there's nothing untoward going on. Your partner is not disrespecting you. They're not being flirtatious. And yet the other one has an issue with almost every individual that your partner comes in contact with. That would be a sign of some insecurity on the part of the one who is making all of the accusations. Okay. But if your partner is out there carrying on, then your concerns are absolutely legitimate. And you need to, that needs, either way, it needs to be addressed. Whether the one partner is being disrespectful and very, very, very flirtatious, even after the other partner expresses concern and might say, you know, babe, I feel very disrespected when we're out somewhere and you're flirting with so many other people. It's not only disrespectful, but it's hurtful. And I would really appreciate if you didn't do that. If you have that conversation with your partner and they continue, then you have a much deeper problem. And maybe you should seek some counseling or something to get to the root of what is going on that results in your partner behaving that way. But with the dangerous partner profile, we got to be honest when we find ourselves attracted to a certain individual, because that is someone you want to avoid as much as possible. And you definitely want to avoid being alone with them or in a compromising position with them. But you have got to be honest with yourself about it. And then you got to be honest. Well, not got to. It's helpful for the marriage if you're honest with your partner about it. Now, I know this is huge. It can open up a big can of worms. And there are a couple of things that will make this more challenging. One is if there has been previous infidelity. That will make this conversation harder to have. Absolutely make it harder to have.
I would agree.
If there is not a level of maturity, that will make it harder to have. If there is not strong trust undergirding this relationship, that's going to make the conversation very hard to have. But it is helpful if you can come to your partner, because your partner can help you and your partner can work together in avoiding that dangerous partner. What do you think on that? What are your thoughts on that, babe?
As I hear that, again, a lot of times I'm hearing myself trying to have that kind of conversation with you. And what would deter me is because if I came to you wanting to be open about something, I think I would feel like I'm going to be already accused. So I'm a little, I would be.
That maybe the old Val.
That's even now.
Yeah.
Because a situation happened recently where some words are being said and names are being thrown out. And at the end of it, Val looked at me and wanted to have a conversation to see if I was doing something based on the text. You know that.
You're talking about that
right,
thing.
Right. We don't have to go into depth.
Yeah.
So
I know what you're saying.
Makes me think, and it's okay because of all the past behaviors. These questions come up.
Yes.
The best part for me, I don't get as defensive, and when I do, I don't hold on to it as long. Because I still do. I still do. Because I'm like, God, I'm like, why are we questioning me now for? But I have to take a breath and say, you know why, Frank. You know why she's asking you. So instead of getting your back up, just answer it as best you can, as honestly as you will.
Yeah.
And it won't last as long as it used to. But even now, I'm going back to say, even now, I still think that if I came with you with something, to you with something, I'm gonna get that Valerie look.
You're gonna get the look.
Only I know what that look. And when Val called me, and I come around the corner and see that look, I'm like,
oh hell,
what did I do? Not what did I do? I didn't do anything. So why am I getting that look? But I have to say, okay, let me hear her out and try to understand it. So even now, based on that, I would do it. Yeah. But I feel like I would be like, oh God, I got to tell her this.
I get it.
What's coming from it? What's going to happen?
Yeah.
Are we going to argue? Are we going to talk about it maturely? So, I mean, it's a lot better now.
Yeah.
when we talk about things, and when that voice comes up in our head or smell, whatever it is. But it's sometimes tough.
Yeah, but honey,
Okay.
I get what you're saying. But that doesn't mean not to have the conversation.
I know.
They are called hard conversations for a reason.
Okay.
And there are conversations that are absolutely hard to have. But that doesn't mean that you don't have them. Now, just
excuse me.
Going back, I want to back up a little bit to what you said about that whole situation there. That was not an accusation. That was simply a question because I had a concern. And listen, it is, from my perspective, a legitimate question. Anytime any partner has a concern, I've gotten to the point now, I'm not going to hold it in. Okay. I'm not going to sit there and hold it in and just stew about it. No. We're going to talk about it. Sadel's writing a whole bunch of stuff. I'm going to get to your comments in a minute, Sadel, boo-boo. But we have the conversation. But yes, talk to your partner. First of all, there's a way to talk to your partner about it. And again, if the trust is there, and allow your partner to ask questions. Don't come to them and say, well, you know that fine brother that was in church last week? I find myself really attracted to him. And we are on this ministry team together.
Oh, the way you said that, that's a problem. You have to get off that ministry team.
Exactly. You don't come and say it that way.
No, matter of fact, I need to start going to church every Sunday and join the ministry team also.
Yeah, but it matters.
Okay.
How you broach the subject to your partner. Again, let it be a time when you can sit down with no distractions and just be truthful about what's going on. Do you find, is there something, because listen, we're not dead. Yeah. There are people that I find attractive. There's men that I'm going to be attracted to. There's women that Frank's going to be attracted to. Now, what is he going to do? Try to fight it all on his own? Or is he going to come to me and we are going to fight this together? So now I can help him avoid situations where he can be in a compromising place with this dangerous partner. Go ahead. What you want to say?
Is it necessary, if you're attracted to someone on Monday, to come home Monday night or Tuesday and have that conversation?
No, not necessarily.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
No, not necessarily. Unless, well, okay, we're all grown here. Unless you see this person and you say, damn, and you have a physiological response in your genitalia on a regular basis when you see this person. You need to have a conversation about that.
Okay, I mean, especially if you're working with that person, but especially if you're attracted to someone and there's a physical reaction, I don't think you need to come home and say that. Unless it's like
not if it's that one first time and that's all it is, and you can move on from there.
Right.
But if every time you see this person, you're getting butterflies or you're having you're fantasizing about what's underneath his clothes or what his thing-a-ding look like or, what her breasts may feel like, that's a problem. You don't think that's a problem?
Again.
Well, then maybe you need to start coming to church more and get on a minute.
No, because if you have those thoughts, whether it's projected at someone you see occasionally, or you have those thoughts in do you talk about fantasies or dreams? Well, dreams
no, I'm not. Well, I'm talking about a real individual.
Understood.
When I'm not talking about like when I talk about Idris Elba and stuff like that.
Right.
I ain't gonna never meet the brother. He ain't thinking about somebody like me, and that ain't gonna happen. But if it's, let's say, somebody that I do have a friendship with,
right?
Okay, that's a totally different. Yeah, you're right, Dr. Nita. That's a problem. So I'm talking about that,
right?
And I know most couples are not going to have that conversation, but I think you may be able to avoid some problems if you do.
Most don't have it because they think they can handle it or something.
They think they can handle it, and they are afraid of their spouse's reaction. Okay. Again, that's why you have to have trust undergirding the relationship, and you have to have a high level of maturity. Because if those two things are absent, you cannot have that conversation. I want us to be at a place where we can have that conversation, where you can come and say that to me. Now I'm going to ask a lot of questions. Well, who this hoe? Where's she come? Where you met her? Where's she from? Right. I'm going to have a whole lot of questions. But how the conversation goes is going to be determined greatly by your responses.
Okay.
Are you going to be open with your responses?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to be defensive with your responses? Are you going to say, well, that doesn't matter and you don't need to know that? No, if you're coming to me with that, then there is this assumption that you want my help with this, that you and I can partner together to keep our marriage safe and keep it from being vulnerable to that stuff on the outside. I want to look at some of what
that's great.
wrote.
That's great. Yeah. But how do you handle if you come to your spouse with that, and instead of the help that you think he or she is seeking, their accusations are projected on him?
Then you know what that says to me? That, well, it could be that overall marriages or relationship is not healthy.
Okay.
And there's not that trust there.
Okay.
There's not that trust there because it takes a lot to come to your partner with something like that. It takes a whole lot to come to your partner and say, there is someone else that I find attractive. Okay. And it could be a problem for our marriage. Let's talk about this. What can we do to help me from falling to this other person over here? Okay.
Right. Okay. And
so I want
us to succumb to that if there's a lot of issues going on in the home already.
Absolutely, because that's something when there's already issues in the marriage, and that you are and encountering the dangerous partner, it's a recipe for disaster. It is absolutely a recipe for disaster. Okay, Sadell said that maybe because of your past. Actually, I think she was referring to something we were talking about a few minutes ago.
I'm sure.
It's your guilt projecting onto me.
Which I'm not sure what those answers or statements you're referring, what I said, but yeah, a lot of issues were because of my past actions, how your mother would respond to me, and definitely I would project my guilt onto her. You know, when we would talk about things, so just how I was feeling, I try to make it her fault as to why these things were happening. Sure.
Yeah. And again, there are things that lead to a marriage being vulnerable, but you cannot blame the betrayed partner. You can't say, I had an affair because you did this. I had an affair because you did not do that. Frank, come on. I know. But I know better now.
Oh, but you know what?
I said it back then, but I know better now.
Oh! You said what back then?
What I just said.
That you did so and so because of me?
Yes.
Said, well, no, don't say that. Say that so they know.
No, they know. Anyone who's been here before, they know that there's been infidelity with our parts. Oh, that you're feeling accused. Yeah, that's what she was referring to. Yeah. But I absolutely didn't say that. I said that I did what I did because Frank did what he did, or because he wasn't home, or because I was lonely, or because there was this emptiness that was going on. But that doesn't make it right. That doesn't justify it at all. Okay. Not, yeah. Whatever we do is because we made the choice to do it. Ain't nobody grab us around the neck and lasso us and take us and make us do anything. Whatever we did, it's because we made the choice to do it. The best protection against any affair is internal. It's internal. You can put things in place on the outside, but the best protection is internal. Especially the degree to which we are willing to be honest with ourselves about ourselves. If we can do that, engage in self-reflection, then that will go a long way towards helping our marriages and relationships from being vulnerable to an affair or to some outside force that wants to destroy the relationship. But there are some ways that we can protect our marriages. One, listen, this is at the top of the list. Number one, open, honest, and ongoing communication. Talk about everything. No subject should be off limits. Talk. Clearly communicate to your partner, especially if there are concerns, if there are unmet needs, if there are desires, if there are longings. Let your partner know. What do you say to that, baby?
You know, I've come a long way in terms of being able and willing to have these conversations again, because because of, as my daughter said, past behaviors and past issues between us.
Yeah.
I was just afraid how the conversation was going to go, and a lot of times I didn't want to feel beat up on, even though maybe it was warranted, in terms of just having a hard conversation. I had to be willing to accept that. Like I said earlier, I'm in a better space now where it's easier to accept it and not get so defensive. Even though I'm human, sometimes my first reaction is like to stick my chest out and say, but I have to take a minute and say, all right, let's have this. We need to have this talk.
We need to have this talk.
Okay, so yeah.
And what's hard also sometimes, if expressing to your partner an unmet need, because you don't want your partner to feel bad, you don't want to hurt their feelings, but you also don't want to go around with these unmet needs. And your partner cannot meet a need that you're unwilling to express. So express the need. And now, if I express it to you, now it's on you. What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it?
I need to start making notes. Little crib notes, cheat notes, whatever you want to call them, because sometimes I forget. And again, I think it's a pattern for my life that I just took for granted when Val would say something that I don't know if it was an unconscious thing that I would just put it off, and before you know it, a week became 2 and 3, and then God forbid if she came back and asked again. I'm like, are you asking? You already told me, but Frank, you ain't did it. It's been 3 weeks
or longer. Or longer.
So what I'm gonna do about it is try
to
meet those needs better than I have. I mean, I'm still not there, because we had a conversation, I think, last few weeks about stuff, and I could hear myself saying, damn, Frank did it again. But it's not as bad.
And here, the key factor is that we can have those conversations. We can have conversations now that we never could have had before. Never, ever, ever, ever. And I mean some real stuff that we both have done.
Going way back, I used to look forward to the conversation she's talking about so I can get mad and leave the house.
That's right. Sometimes Frank was a master at it. When Thursday evening rolled around,
Lord,
I already knew it was coming. He was going to pick a fight so he could go out and hang out. Now he's going Thursday, he's going Friday, and he's going Saturday. Okay. Frank was a master at picking fights. So good that most of the times I'd let him fight with himself. I wouldn't even say anything. Okay. I wouldn't even say anything, but he'd get mad anyway. Now you ain't going to say nothing? Oh, that's a...
I know that. I was so childish, immature in my thinking and stuff like that, when we had this and laugh about it, it's just like, wow.
Yeah. It's hard to believe we went through all that, right? But here's the thing. We're sharing this with you guys, and prayerfully you guys won't have to go through some of the things that Frank and I went through. Okay. We are so fortunate. We are so blessed that God brought us through all of that. And I am a firm believer in God doesn't waste anything, but God will use everything, even the worst of our experiences. So it is our prayer that in us sharing and being as open and transparent as we are, that some of you will not have to go through some of the stuff that we did, but you can learn from our experiences and maybe implement some of the things that we're talking about. It's not just off the top of our head. It's stuff that we've lived through or we've learned, not just from experience, but maybe from reading or workshop or class or something. When you know better, you do better. The girl, oh yes, absolutely, E. Nicole, absolutely. Another thing you can do to protect your what's another thing, babe? To protect your marriage.
Establish clear boundaries, especially with those of the opposite sex or same sex, if in a same sex relationship. You are only aware of how you feel about the friend. Don't assume the friend wants to maintain a platonic friendship.
Absolutely. maintain clear boundaries. And you and your spouse, your partner, your fiance, your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, if you're in a committed relationship and you want to protect your relationship, you must establish. Oh, I don't know what somebody put that mess on there. I wish I knew how to. What?
I thought that was Sedell.
No, that's not Sedell. Oh. I don't know how to block people on YouTube.
So somebody's. That's like when I was in my meeting recently. Someone joined in and started.
Yeah, but I don't know how to block people. Somebody, Sedell, text me and tell me how to block somebody on YouTube, because I don't know how to do that. But anywho, yes, establish clear boundaries. Have a conversation with your partner, and the two of you agree on what those boundaries are going to be, what those friendships outside of your relationship are going to look like. I'm a firm believer in making sure your friends are also those who support your marriage, that they are friends of your marriage as well. I don't know. Can I delete a comment that somebody makes on?
Bring those little dots up and see.
Can I delete that?
See what it says.
Remove.
Mm-hmm. Put user in timeout, it says also. Hit those dots again.
I'm trying.
I'll go to a different one.
Hide user on this channel.
I don't know if that'll work.
I don't know.
These
messages will be hidden. Okay, so they're hidden. I see it's Adele.
She blocked them. Okay. Keep talking.
Thank you, Nicole.
Okay. There you go. Okay, good. Okay.
So, make clear boundaries with you and your partner, that as a way to protect your relationship or your marriage. Avoid temptation, and that's people, places, and things. You don't think of things as temptations, but they can be. People, that's self-explanatory. You want to avoid people. We talked about earlier that dangerous partner profile. If there's someone that you feel like you have an attraction to, you want to avoid that individual, especially being alone with them or in a place where you could be put in a compromising situation. Places. There's certain places maybe where you ought not go. Okay? If you have a problem with being faithful in your marriage, or if you've been unfaithful before, maybe you shouldn't go to the strip club. I don't know. I'm just saying. Maybe. Maybe you don't need. If you want to lap dance, ask your partner to do a lap dance.
We're not talking about going to the strip in terms of using that for an example, because I feel like if I hung out with my sons and Gary and whatnot to a strip club, I'm not going there to have a lap dance.
Well, if you hung out with John, but if you're going with Hammy and Gary, that's a different story. That's a different story. Okay?
John gonna have me stand in the corner. We're gonna look from afar. Exactly. Hammy, your dad, here's some dollars for you.
No. John he wouldn't even give you any money. He wouldn't even spend any money. So John might be okay, but with Hammy, I don't know I don't know about that. But yeah, but just think about that. Think about the places you go that you think have the potential to put you in a compromising situation, and avoid those places. What are some of the places? I mean, I can think of a strip club for a man. Where else?
Honey, if that's a temptation could be, and as soon as you step out the door. So you can't.
No, but you're not going to be. See, every situation doesn't tempt every individual. That, again, comes to self-reflection and honesty about yourself. There's some places you could go where it won't be tempting at all, but there are other places you may go. If you're honest, it's more tempting for you.
She said honesty could be anywhere, because I'm kind of agreeing, because
I don't think it could be anywhere.
Temptation, when Nicole said, keep talking, we're not going to let the devil get in the way.
Yeah.
He knows what I've done. So
he knows what you like.
So any place I go, the temptation can be put there. Whether it's just being on Sterling Place, sitting on the stoop.
Yeah.
Temptation could come across.
But you are, I think, you are that is less likely to be a source of temptation for you, as opposed to, let's say, remember that place you and Gary's hang out, that Frank's
KB's,
place?
No,
KB's, or a place like that, or a nightclub where you're drinking. And that's another thing. You got to be mindful of alcohol consumption, because some people, they lose their mind. They drink brown liquor, they go crazy, and that may be something that you have to avoid. A temptation in a certain place can correlate with who is in that place. Absolutely.
Okay.
It
Okay.
absolutely can. You are
Mhm.
so right, Sadell. But the point is to just be mindful of yourself. What is going on the inside of you, and be aware at all times.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. What else?
What you want?
Number 4.
Maintain an atmosphere of mutual admiration, affection, and affirmation. And that's
Absolutely.
a good one.
Yeah.
Because if one person thinks they're not being told they look cute, or you look handsome enough, or I'm proud of you, whatever.
Yeah.
And you're hearing it someplace else, and then if your foundation is already shaky, that stuff sounds really loud in one's head.
Good. Absolutely.
Sounds absolutely good.
Yes.
Yeah. So
that's absolutely admiration, affection, and affirmation, and that goes for the male and female. Everybody likes it. It's a human desire to.
But unfortunately, as a man, I don't think the public at large gives much credence that a man needs that just as much as a woman.
I'm not so sure.
I read a lot of stuff
maybe years ago, but I think now people are more enlightened, and they realize that men need affirmation and admiration and all that just as much as a woman does.
Okay.
Yeah, I think people are more enlightened now. Maybe years ago, but I don't think so much now. Another one is don't push your partner away or move away from them. In other words, let's say you have a big argument with your partner and you mad and you're going to go sleep your mad behind on the couch. No, you take your mad behind to the bed and sleep next to your partner. You mad, so you're going to go hang out with your girls. You're going to go hang out with your boys because you're all mad. That's moving away from your partner. Let's talk about this, okay? I'm angry for a reason. Let your partner know what the anger is about, okay? But don't move away from your partner. Don't push your partner away. If they come to you and they say, listen, sweetie, it looks like something is bothering you. What's going on? And you just push them away. You don't want to talk about it. 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 That's pushing them away, okay? And again, if you're angry about something, don't avoid connection with your partner. You can be angry and you can say, all right, babe, you know what? I need to process this, calm down for a little bit, and we can talk about it in a couple of hours. We can talk about it tomorrow. But don't go storming out the door because you're angry. Don't sleep on the couch because you're angry. Try as much as possible, maintain that connection. Okay. And they say in the Christian community, don't give the devil place. The enemy will use anything to try to wreak havoc in a relationship. What's that grin for? You're grinning about something.
Yeah, because I'm just going to say, and don't get angry if the brother say, I don't want to talk about it right now either. Don't get mad at him for doing that.
As long as you don't keep saying it over and over and over. But it's one thing to say, I don't want to talk about it right now, babe, and we can come back later, as opposed to just shutting it down and saying, listen, I don't want to talk about this at all. Because a couple should be able to talk about anything, anything. And if there is a subject which one partner thinks they can't talk about with the other, then to me, that's a red flag. That's a problem. We should be able to talk about anything. As long as, again, it requires maturity and it requires trust. You have to believe that your partner is always has your best interest at heart.
Right.
And they're not out to hurt you. Go ahead,
and the assumptions I make sometimes is when I want to have a conversation, how you're going to react. I already have a preconceived idea or assumption what's going to come back. And sometimes I don't come to you about how I'm feeling about something because I think how you're going to react.
And see, that's not fair because when you think that I am being held hostage by past behaviors whenever that occurred, and that's not fair in a relationship.
Sure.
Deal with your partner in that moment where they are right then. Don't say, I can't say this to them now because 3 years ago they did XYZ. That's unfair. Where's your partner at now? Where's your relationship at now? And ask yourself, why did my partner behave that way or respond that way 3 years ago or 5 years ago or 10 years ago when we talked about whatever this thing is? Always Allow space for growth. Assume that your partner has grown, that they're going to be different. If the relationship is different, but you grinning at now. He always grinning about something. You know something? I just can't with him.
Because this is nice.
I just can't with him.
And when you said deal with your partner where they are now,
right?
Don't think about where they were or make the comment, oh, they go the same old Frank, because that's like looking at the past behavior, right? That's what you mean? Listen, because I hear that. See, we both are supposed to be able to respond to whatever's going on, the conversation we have,
kind of way.
Make whatever face, take whatever position, because that's how we're feeling. We should not be saying, see, they go to old Frank. I'm like, no, it's not. But you agree with that, right?
I absolutely
okay,
agree.
Well, thank you. Okay.
That was a chair. That wasn't me, babe.
Okay, no problem.
Go ahead.
Okay. Take accountability for mistakes. Be willing to ask for forgiveness and make changes when necessary.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
You got to be accountable. And be willing to say, listen, I am so sorry. Yeah. Will you forgive me? I'm a firm believer in that. I am sorry for. Right. Will you forgive me?
Not I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
What you sorry for? What you do?
Exactly.
And that was a big thing for me.
Yeah.
To say I'm sorry and ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
That again, because if I say I'm sorry, like we just joked around the question of what you're sorry for. And for me, I'm thinking, okay, I got to bring up stuff I did. And the last thing I really want to talk about is stuff I done did.
That's right.
So,
but you have to take account. You have to be accountable. Apologize, say I'm sorry, ask for forgiveness, and make the change. Okay, change behavior is the best apology. It's one thing to apologize and you do the same thing and do the same thing and do the same thing. It's another thing entirely to apologize, ask for, receive forgiveness, and you stop. You make the necessary changes. That speaks volumes. A changed behavior speaks way, way louder than I'm sorry. Will you forgive me? Also, you know what? Date each other. Find shared interests. Find a shared interest and do it together. But still continue to date. Whatever that dating looks like. If your date looks like Netflix and chill, and y'all both okay with that, that's fine. If your dating looks like going to a Broadway show, fine. But still continue to date one another. Because when you're involved in an affair, one of the things you do, you date that person. Y'all go places, y'all do things, but the one you should be doing it with is your spouse. What do you have to say to that, babe?
I concur. No, it's funny when we talked about that because me and Val, we were getting on each other. No, we were just talking about like just dating. And Val said to me, well, Frank, date night came and we didn't do anything. But on the other hand, she'll say sitting at home watching a movie.
It's fine.
It's cool.
Yeah. I don't
but if we
Netflix
do that, she'll tell me, honey, we didn't do anything. Honey, we were together. We were together.
Here's the thing.
She agreed to me early this morning.
I don't mind Netflix and chill. I love Netflix and chill because in my heart of hearts, I'm really a homebody. I love to do things. I love to go out and explore and whatnot. But in my heart of hearts, I'm kind of a homebody. So I don't mind Netflix and chill, but I don't want Netflix and chill all the time.
No,
I
agree.
And it is helpful when both partners are involved in whatever the dating is going to look like, whatever the event is going to look like. When it's one spouse or one partner all the time, that could get to be exhausting. And not only that, resentment could start to set in.
Yeah.
Okay. And that could make your marriage vulnerable as well. As if this person's saying, well, I'm going to take you here, I'll take you there, I'll do this, I'll do that. And they're willing to follow through on it. When all your spouse wants to do is watch Law and Order.
What you talking about, Val? Or The Wire.
All The Wire.
Chicago PD.
Yeah. Y'all get the picture, right? Y'all get the picture. So you have to date each other.
Right,
And what else?
Be willing to come out of your comfort zone to accommodate spouse's interests.
Yes, we don't. You may not have a shared interest, and I know Frank. We struggle with that for years, for years, for years, for years, for years, because I love to travel. That's number one. I love going to shows, to concerts, and things like that. I love, love, love doing all those things. Frank, on the other hand, he don't like doing none of that stuff.
I don't mind the travel.
Oh, you don't mind now?
But shows. That's just not my thing. Not all shows. Some shows. Ballet. Opera. No, don't be taking. No.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. That's what I mean by coming out of your comfort zone to accommodate your spouse's interests. Because here's the thing, and I say this even to the couples that I counsel. You don't have to like the thing.
I know.
You just love your partner.
Yes.
You love your partner. It's not about the thing. Y'all can play tiddlywinks. The idea is to maintain the connection and do things together. Just like, I know what you're thinking about, because he likes sports.
Right. And when I go to Brooklyn to participate in those games, or when now check this out, y'all. Check this out. When we lived in Brooklyn, this is Val participating and enjoying my thing. We go to play. I'm playing ball. I'm in the tournaments, whatever. Where's Val? In the car, reading, or on the bench, reading.
I'm on the bench.
But
I'm there.
Oh, you just got to be there. Not watching and clapping. You just, I just got to be there. So I got it. I just go to the show and I can be there. I can go to the show and I can be in the auditorium.
No.
I got to be in the chair next to you.
Got to be in the chair next to you.
All right, y'all.
That's the idea, is to be there.
Got it.
Because this is something that your partner enjoys. So that's what I'm talking about.
I mean,
you haven't played and all that in so long.
What are you talking about?
When?
I was in the tournament this year. Was it this year?
No, that was last year.
No, it's 22. I was in the tournament this year.
All right.
I
Yeah. But see, I asked about coming. You told me not to come because of the way the park was, and they didn't have.
Because I know you.
Any place to sit, and they didn't have this, and they didn't have that. Then you came home and said, babe, I'm glad you didn't come.
I know she wouldn't have liked it. That's all. Not that I wouldn't want her there.
Yeah,
but I know she wouldn't like it and be very uncomfortable.
But I like you, and that's why I asked about coming.
Okay.
You told me to stay home.
You see, we've been around each other a long time. She knew if she asked to come. Now she didn't want to come, but she knew if she asked to come. I was gonna say, "Nah, baby,
come on, now we're running out of time.
Okay, go ahead.
It's already late. We're running out of time.
Go ahead.
So we talked about comfort zone and listen, sex. Have sex. Talk about having sex. And here's the thing: it's really important to let your partner know what you enjoy, what you find pleasing. Because if you pretend to like something that you don't like, they gonna keep on doing it, and you ain't gonna like it. So let them know what you like. Let them know what you don't like. What do you want to do when we're having sexual intercourse? What do you want that to look like? Make sure you communicate clearly to your partner. And big, no secrets. No secrets. Secrets will destroy a relationship. Absolutely. So these are just a few things. Again, this is not an exhaustive list that can help to prevent your marriage from becoming vulnerable to an affair. The bottom line is make your partner a priority. Make your marriage, your relationship, make it a priority.
If I may, all these points 1 through 10 have importance, but number 9, especially for
Tell them
us
what it
fellas.
Is.
Oh, numbers. Oh, they don't have
We're
it.
talking about
Sex. As for men, at least again, I don't know how many men, but I'll speak for myself. As you get older and things don't respond as quickly as they used to when you were younger.
Yeah.
Me personally, it's frightening, and it's something that I needed to have the conversation with Val because as a woman, she feel, okay, he don't like me like he used to.
Right.
And that was a tough, hard conversation to have when as a man personally feeling like he's losing something and your wife Val feel like I don't like her. Right. Take it personally. And now we're with what we're focusing on is not really how I'm feeling. We're focusing on an outside issue, but what the issue was, how I was feeling at about to be 65 and everything else. And that was a hard conversation to have.
It was.
And to understand. I mean, I knew the whys, but for it to still be happening sometime, it was bothersome. It was scary.
Yeah.
It was very scary.
I know, baby. And I'm really I'm proud of you for even mentioning it now.
I don't know why it just came up, but
yeah, I'm proud of you because I know how difficult that was for us to talk about. That was a really, really hard conversation, and I have to say the conversation is ongoing because sometimes we still have to talk about it because I still have to remind myself to not take it personally. Number one, and number two, I mean, just got to work a little bit hard.
I said, it's nice to have those phone calls, when I'm away. But, when I walk through the door,
I got to be ready.
It ain't going to always be ready. You
ain't going to always be ready.
You got a little helper brother every once in a while.
Absolutely. And I mean, I get that. But see, as a woman, with our sexuality, we age differently with our sexuality. Okay. Well, for some of us anyway, for some women who go through menopause and they have an issue with dryness and that sort of thing, I ain't got that problem. Okay. So I don't have that problem. So even when I'm ready, and it's not like it used to be years ago. Please, I just have to show a little this, show a little that, and he ready. It don't work like that anymore. I got to work a little harder than I used to. But I have to always remind myself now to not take it personally because I definitely did before we had that conversation. And I'm proud of you, honey. I am so proud of you for talking about it because I know it was hard. Okay. So Delche said, we're too much. Yeah, I know, but you love us. I know you love us. That's our baby girl. So again, I don't think you can affair proof your marriage in terms of completely eradicating the possibility of an affair occurring. Okay. I do think that there are things you can do to make it less vulnerable to an affair occurring. And the bottom line is make your spouse, make your marriage, your relationship is a priority. Keep people on the outside of your relationship who need to be on the outside. Be self-reflective. Be honest with yourself about yourself and what's going on inside of you. Engage the help of your partner to try to avoid some compromising situations, compromising people, compromising places. And if you do those things, especially if you are a believer, you can enlist the assistance of the Holy Spirit of God, who can help you in ways that even your partner can't, and help you in ways that you cannot even help yourself. So I think that is a huge, huge component for those of us who are believers, who are Christians and who have the Lord Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior. But if there are those who have a different faith tradition, call on that. Tap into the power of whatever faith tradition you have to assist you in helping to keep your marriage, your relationship healthy and protected and less vulnerable to an affair. You have anything you want to add, babe? So I want to thank you guys. And again, what do we always say? Subscribe, like, share, do all that good stuff. Subscribe, like, share, subscribe, like, share, subscribe, like, share. I thank you again. We won't be here next week because we're going to have our grandbabies with us next week.
And it's Halloween too. Oh Lord.
We're going to have all four of them here for a trunk or treat right here on the complex, and we'll have them overnight, and I'm looking forward to it. So we're going to be wore out by next Sunday evening, so we won't be here, but in a couple of weeks we'll be here for that. All right, thank you again. I love you guys. Be blessed.